Hello people, my name is Simon and welcome to another video tutorial. Today we'll be building a simple project which is the mortgage calculator, and here is the finished product. So what it does is it takes the loan amount, then the duration by years, and the interest rate. So let me say, for example, we have a user who is taking a loan of $600,000. Then the duration is 25 years and per annum is 2%. So if I click on calculate, here is what I get at bottom. The loan amount, which is the $600,000, the monthly payment, which is $2,543.13, and the annual payment, which is $30,517.51. The interest rate is 0.02, and the total returns, which is 762, 900 and $37.81. So this is the finished product and this is what we are going to build. If you find this video helpful, please make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video. Alright, so let's go to the coding section. So here is a new blank app I have just created, which is the Ionic Angular app. If we go to the coding section, and you can see this is the header of it. I just zoom in a little so that you can see properly. So I want to change the header first, and I'll call it mortgage calculator. Then I also want to change the mode. The mode should be iOS, and also I want to change the color, and the color should be primary. Then I'm going to remove this section so that we have empty tab. In our ion content, what I want to do here, I want to give it a color of light, then a class of ion padding. So let me save and see how it looks like. Okay, all right. So sorry, I think I made a mistake for the mode. This should be IOX. So let me save that and look at the browser again. Good, this is looking better. The next thing I want to do is to design some templates. So for the template, I want to create a container, which is a grid. I'm going to create a grid. I'm going to remove the other column. Then only what I need is the first column. I want to remove the default size. I'm going to define my own size. For large screen, I want it to be 6, and the offset dash LG should be 3. Same thing will go for MD, size dash MD, it should be 6, and offset dash MD should be 6. Then for more bigger screen, I want to do size dash XL to be 6, and offset dash XL to be 3. Okay, sorry, this offset dash MD should be what? 3. Let me correct that. Okay, I think I'm good now. So the next thing I want to do is to create a card here. So I'm going to do iJash card, and in my card I want to have an item. So this item should have no lines, line none, and I want to give it a color of light. At the same time, I also go to my card. I want the card to have a color of light, and I want to add some padding. I'm going to do ion dash padding. Okay, so let me give some space here. So in this same ion item, I want to add an input. So I will just do ion dash input, and this input should be what? A number. So this should be the loan amount. So the place with the enter loan amount, and the label should be loan amount. Loan amount. Then I need an icon. So what I will do here is to create an icon, ion dash icon, and for this icon, the slot position should be start, and the name of the icon should be logo dash USD. Let's save and see how it looks like. Okay, we can see we now have a card. We now have a card the and the input. Okay, I want to make the label to be floating. So what I will do, I'm going to go to the label and I will do position floating. And the color of the card, I want to change it to primary. So let me save. Go to the browser. Awesome. Now you can see it's floating. Okay. I also want to change the color of the label. I want to make it primary. Then the next thing I want to do is to duplicate this line so that we'll have another input. So I'm going to copy this and press Ctrl D to duplicate. So this is going to be the duration. So let me change the label. Duration. Which is the time. Marked by years. And the icon, I'm going to change the name to time. And also this is going to be a type of number. And the label, enter duration. So let us save again and see how it looks. Ctrl S to save and go back to my browser. You can see we now have two inputs. We need one more input for the interest. So what I'll do is to copy this and duplicate the line. So what I will do is to call this one interest. So enter interest. Interest. I couldn't find a good icon for the interest rate. So what I will do is to use a div. I'm going to use a div. And this div, I'm going to put a percentage sign. Then I'll give it a class. This class should be, sorry, instead of class, I'll give it a slot rather. Slot should be start. Sorry. Okay, so let me cut this off and save. We should have three different inputs now. If I go back to my browser, you can see we have interest, we have duration, and we have loan amount. So let us add a button. So under this card, I'm going to add a div. And this div, I'm going to add a class. And this class should be ion margin top. Then another div. This div should have a class called ion-text-center. Then here is where I add my button. In the button class, So I'll do calculate loan as the button text. Then I don't need the shape property, the field property, and the expand property, including the function. I only need the type, and the type should be submit, followed by the color of the button, which should be light. So let me save again and see how it looks. I'm gonna save by doing Ctrl X and go back to my browser. You can see we now have the button here. The next thing I will add is to include a form. So if you look at the card here, I need to add a form here. However, so what I will do is to take my button and put it in the card. So I'll cut the button and put it in the card. Then I'm going to wrap the card with a form with the ending tag. So what I will do is to cut out the content of the card and paste it inside the form. So the next thing I want to do is to define the property of the form. So the form need a template variable name, which should be loan form. And the loan form should be ng form. Also, the form also need a name. I'm going to call the name of the form loan form. We also need a submit action. So for the submit, I will just call this process loan. This function is not available now, but I want to make it available in a minute. So let me copy this and define this method. So if I go to my TS file, I'm going to paste this. So this is just a method that is currently not doing anything. You can see the error has gone away. So let me go to app.module.ts, which is the central module. So if we can also use reactive form, but I want to use ng form. So if you want to use reactive form, you can import your reactive form module here and forms module. Okay. There's currently an error. Let me see where it's coming from. Okay, I need to update the import. Alright, so we need to go back to our home.ts file. We've already defined the method to process the loan. So if we go back to our template, and this is what we have. So let me save and see if there will be any errors. I've done Ctrl X and going back to the browser. Basically everything looks good. The next thing we want to do is to bind the input of this value with two-way binding. So I'm going to define a model object and I need some property. So for the property of the loan, what I need is loan amount, which should be 0, followed by interest, which should be 1 by default, then followed by duration, which should be 1. I also need some variables at the bottom here, but I think before I go ahead and declare the variable, let me bind this model. So what I will do is to go back to my home page.html, and I want to do two-way binding for this input. So for this input, I'm going to use the model, which is the square bracket and the curly brace. We do call it banana in the box. So if I do ng model, so I'm going to bind model dot loan amount. Excuse me, dot loan amount. This, since we are using ng model, we need to define a name for this, or else it will throw error. That is the conversion. So I'm going to copy the name, which is the model.loan amount, and define a variable called name and specify the name as loan amount. So what I will do is to copy this and use this same binding for the next input, which is duration. But I'm going to change the binding property to duration. Then the name should also be what? Duration. I'm going to use the same binding property, copy that, and use this for the interest. So I'm going to change the duration to the interest. Then the name also should be interest. If I save, you're going to see a default value right on the browser. So I just do Control Save and go back to the browser. You can see we are now having default value. We're having default value here, which is the loan amount and the duration as 1 and the interest as 1. So let us text our submit button. Let me click on the calculate loan button, and let's see what we get. Nothing is going on, but let us log some property on the console. In the file home.ts page and under the method process loan. So I'm going to do console.log this.model. We want to log in the property. Save and go back to the browser. If I click on the calculate loan button, you can see on the console we're having the property of the model. So if I enter the value 6,000 and press enter, you can see I'm getting a loan amount as 6,000. Okay, the next thing we want to do is to define some property at the bottom here. So what we're going to do is to create some default variable, to declare some default variable right here. So I'm going to need some variable. I'll call this loan amount. It should be 0 by default. Then another one which will be monthly payment. Then another one which is interest. Another one which is the annual payment. Now we need another one which is the month in year. We all know that the month in year, we already have 12 months in a year, so that should be straightforward. Then we need one more, which is the total return. Okay, I think I'm missing one, so this should be 0 first. I need one which is the interest rate. I think that is all. So the next thing I will do is to go to our template and create a list variable under here. So under the form, I want to create a list, and the list should have an item. This item should have a label and an icon. So I want to focus on the icon first. So for the icon, the position, which is a slot, will be start, and I want the logo to be logo dash USD. Then the size should be small. Then there's going to be another input. Sorry, not input, rather a div. This div will hold some variable. So let me change the label first. So I will call this loan amount. So this will be loan amount. So let's save and see how it should look like. Don't Control S and go back to my browser. You can see we now have loan amount at the bottom. So we need to duplicate this line and put in all the properties. So I'm going to duplicate this item in the list. So for this, I'm going to do monthly payment. Sorry, let me correct this. So the variable should be what? Monthly payment. Then I'm going to declare one more. I think I should give some space. Then this should be annual payment. And the variable should be what? Annual payment. Another one. For this one, this will be interest rate. Okay, for the interest rate, the variable should be what? Interest rate. Then another one. This should be total returns. And the variable should be what? Total returns. So since this is rate, there's no icon for that. I'm going to use a div. So for the div, is what I will do. Put in the percentage symbol and the slot should be start. Okay, so let me cut this out. Let's save and see how it looks. Okay, I think we are close now. Everything is looking good. So if I go to my code, next thing we want to do is to calculate the loan. To do that, I already have a formula. So let me copy this and put it in the code. So this is the formula. There are different formula available for calculating loan, but I think this actually fits what I need to do. So the MT here is the monthly payment. I am more interested in the monthly payment. That is why I'm using this formula. So P is the loan request. R here is the rate. N is the term in numbers of months. And we have the down part of the formula. But first, we need a validation because we don't want to process a loan whereby the value of the loan is zero. So we need to add something that will actually stop the user from calculating a loan with zero amount. So how do we do that? I'm going to use an alert dialog. So I'm importing the alert controller. um this should be of alert controller. So I'm going to create like alert here. So mine should take a message of type which is string. I'm going to replace the default message. So what I would do is this. Then before the loan is being processed, I want to add my validation here. So I'm going to do some if check. If this dot model dot loan amount is less than 1, or this dot model dot interest is less than 1, sorry, or this dot model dot duration is less than 1, what should I do? I should just return this dot alert. So we need a message here. I'll say all input value should be greater than 0. Okay, so let me see. Okay, it should be this dot present alert. Let me copy this. So we are good now. Okay, so let us continue. We need to calculate the loan using this formula. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to divide the formula into two parts, the upper part and lower part, because the order is very, very important. But the first thing I want to do is, okay, let me see, not all culpa return value. So let me just remove this return statement. Okay, then I want to actually catch the value of the interest and the loan amount. So what I will do is this dot interest. The interest will be the calculation of this dot model dot interest divided by 100. Sorry, this should be interest rate. Then I want to also get the loan amount. So this is the loan amount will be equal to this dot model dot loan amount. So like I said, I want to divide the equation into two parts. So I'll do first part. First part. If you look at the formula, this is P, which is the loan request, right? So this dot model dot loan request. Then in the loan request, we want to multiply it by the. If you look at arrow, what is arrow? Arrow is what? The rate. So this is going to be this dot interest rate multiplied by what? N. What is N? If you look at N is the term in months. So this will be this dot uh, month in year. So this is going to be the first part of the equation. All right, so the second part of the equation will be, if you look at the formula, this is 1, right? So 1, so what I'm going to do here is minus 1 minus the whole of 1, which is this one, plus arrow. What is arrow? The rate. So this will be this dot interest rate divided by n, which is the month in year, which is the month in year. Then it should be raised to the power. So this should be raised to the power. You can see it here, of minus n multiplied by t. So what I will do is to create a bracket. Then I think I should add a minus here. Yes, there should be a minus here. What is n? If you look at n, this is month in a year. So this should be this dot month in year, month in year multiplied by n. N is the duration. Sorry, multiplied by t rather. T. So this will be this dot model dot duration. Okay, I think I can break this to two lines. So this is the first part and this is the second part. So the next thing we're going to do is to set the monthly payment. So if I do this dot monthly payment, if you look at the formula, we are dividing the upper part by the lower part. So we're going to divide the first part by the second part. So how the first part divided by what? Second part. Then we also need to get some other value. So we need to calculate the annual payment. And since we've gotten the monthly payment, we should be able to calculate the annual payment. So this dot annual payment will be this dot monthly payment multiplied by this dot month in year. Then we also need to calculate the total return. So this dot total return. So this will be annual payments multiplied by the duration. Okay, so this will be annual payment multiplied by this dot model dot duration. Okay, so let us save and see if everything works. So I've done Control Save and go back to the browser. So without entering a loan amount, let me click on calculate loan first. You can see all input should be greater than the value of 0. Let me change the mode of this alert. If I go to the alert under message, I'm going to change the mode, and the mode should be iOS. If I save again, I go back to my browser. If I click on calculate loan, you can see this is looking beautiful. I think I prefer the iOS component. Okay, so let's see. If I enter a loan of 400,000, this is $400,000 and a duration of 10 years and an interest rate of 3%. I click on calculate loan. Okay, this is what we get. Okay, we need to actually make this variable in two decimal places. To do that, we we need to go to our template in the home, in the list we've created. So we need to make it to fixed. I'm going to copy this and put it in every other value. Copy this, put it here, copy this, put it here, put it here, and here. So let me save and see how it looks. Okay, refresh my browser. Okay, so let me see a loan of um $10,000 and a duration of 5 years. Then interest per annum should be, I think, 2% is okay. So if I click on calculate, you can see this is what I get: a loan of 10,000 and a monthly payment of $175,000.28 and an annual payment of $2,103.33 and an interest rate of 0.02 and a total returns of $10,516.66. So to check if our system is correct, I've copied a link of a website. I'm going to calculate the same thing we've done in our app. So here is $10,000 for a duration of 5 years and an interest rate of 2% per annum. So if I go to the calculator to the First Bank Trust Bank Company, so this is $10,000. This is 5 years, which is same as ours. You can see, and a loan of 2% per annum for monthly. So for monthly, you can see the total payment is 10,517. So our own is approximately, you can see this is 10,516. Approximately this is 10,500 and what 17. If we go to the monthly payment, which is 175.28 dollars. If we go to our app, this is $175.28. If we go to the other link again, like the interest rate. So if you look at us, I think the interest rate, what we just need to do is deduct the the loan amount. So what we get is 516. And if you look at this, is 517. So basically our app works, and you can actually move forward with this. We're actually creating it as an Android application, probably installing it on your phone so that you can test it. I can move around with it. So I'm going to drop a link to the GitHub so that you can check it out. So that is all for this video. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in another video.